Learning about the death of one of the Greensboro Four yesterday was heartbreaking for those who knew the impact Joseph McNeil had not only in our city, but beyond it. Not many people know what it was actually like inside Woolworth's during the sit-ins, except for the people who visited and worked there.
WFMY News 2's Lauren Tier met a former busboy who watched it all unfold in front of him.
More than 65 years later, Charles Bess is one of the few left who can still describe watching the Greensboro Four sit down at the whites-only counter that fateful February day. Just one day after the death of Joseph McNeil, Bess stepped behind the counter again to reflect on the civil rights leaders and legacies now symbolized by the stools that sit empty.
When I worked through here, carrying it, and I said, hot stuff, and they gathered with me.
Charles Bess says the space is a little tighter behind the counter now, but everything else is almost exactly the same as it was when four North Carolina A&T freshmen sat down at the whites-only lunch counter.
At that time, I didn't know what to think.
What was supposed to be an ordinary Monday for a busboy at Woolworth's turned into a day that changed the course of the civil rights movement.
When they sit down that day, they wasn't hungry. They wasn't hungry for food. They were hungry for change. The Greensboro Four was sitting right along in here. Right in this seat right here.
Although advised to ignore the protesters by his supervisor, Bess felt compelled to express his support.
I wrote a note, and I put on this note, my note said, I'm with you all the way.
Bess says the note never made it to the Four, but he did get to meet them in the coming years.
It made me feel great because I felt like they were doing something that was right. I appreciate what they were doing because they was fighting against, because they were fighting for civil rights.
Now 88 years old, he says it's emotional being back in the place that stands for so much, especially the day after the death of one of the A&T Four.
I'm just overjoyed that the good Lord spared me to still be around, to tell the story about the Woolworth City movement.
Bess was one of the first African Americans to be served lunch at Woolworth's in Greensboro. He says he remembers ordering and enjoying a slice of meatloaf back in July of 1960. And to this day, he says it's still one of his favorite meals.